Alright, today we're going to talk about feed. It has come to my attention that there was some post topics going on regarding me and feed and what I do and don't do. So I'm going to educate you on how these work. First of all, not all feeds are created equal. Here in this dish, I have what's called an extruded feed. This is actually Dr. Pohl's Rabbit 18%. I was testing it because I've had a couple people ask about it. This is a regular rabbit pellet. It's called Pen Pals. It is absolutely identical to Oxbow Essentials, which I recommend all pet people use Oxbow Essentials if they want to order it. If you're fine with the 50-pound bag of feed, this Pen Pals is a great feed. So ingredients in a feed are listed highest weight to lowest weight if you look at the tag. I'm going to show you what happens. So if you see as alfalfa as your first ingredient, you know that the heaviest item in that feed is alfalfa. And then you'll have your wheat middlings, your oatmeal, whatever else they put in there. But this is interesting. So let's say we take the recommended amount of Oxbow Essentials, which is 2 tablespoons. These are level tablespoons. That is 19 grams of product. So say 19 to 20 grams of product, they say per day. This is not very much feed, y'all. So this feed is 90% hay. If I were to feed my herd only this pellet, they would do just fine on it. They have in the past. In the south here, we have huge issues with feed quality, so sometimes they don't get hay. It's moldy or weird. Now this is the equivalent amount of Dr. Pohl's, which is going to be 2 level tablespoons. What do you see here? This is nothing. This is 12 grams. That is half of the weight of this other feed. Because it's an extruded feed, basically an extruded feed has already been digested once. And for chinchillas that are the type of animal, secretrophic, they digest their food twice, they don't need to with this feed. If you use an extruded feed like this, and that includes science selective, you have to feed hay or roughage constantly. They need to have their gut keep moving. This feed, it even says on the bag, you have to feed these types of feeds with hay. If you're feeding a regular pellet, like this, you can get away with feeding a hay cube. Now how much does that hay cube weigh? That's 21 grams. So in theory, a chinchilla could survive an entire day on just that hay cube. Some do, some don't. What I also want to talk about is how much to feed your chinchilla. What I have done is I have put a scoop of feed. I fill my chinchilla's feeders once a week. This is 1 week's worth of food for an average adult that is not eating hay. And you're like, man, why don't you feed your chinchilla hay? Oh my God. Well, I tell you what, we have mold problems, we have dust problems, we have bird poop problems, we have, you name it. I've got chinchillas that are too old. They get sick like nobody's business. So some of them are on restricted pellet only diets. They do great. I have also been experimenting with these. These are kind of neat little senior horse cookies. Before you go, oh my God, you're feeding a horse cookie. Let's tear this out. How much of this chinchilla's daily recommended diet per Oxbow is this cookie? That's 1/4. They recommend 20 grams of food a day. This cookie is 1/4. So these old senior cookies are kind of cool. You can break them apart real easy. Now we've got way less. So I've been experimenting with my seniors and giving them a small piece of these to see if it helps their joints, because you know, it seems like they get 17, 18 and they have a little bit harder time moving around. And I've got a couple who've perked up and a couple who just don't have any change and they won't eat them anyway, which is kind of interesting. So let's look at how much your average chinchilla eats of material a week. Now I want to tear you up, buddy. So per week, with no hay, your average chinchilla is going to eat 300 grams. I believe this is about 11 ounces. So 10.7, 11 ounces of material. Material, this is total stuff that they consume. This is your wood sticks, this is your wood ledges, this is your hay, this is cookies, treats, whatever you give them. your chinchilla is going to eat about this much material a week. So when you guys start having problems with diarrhea and whatnot, my first question is, well, what else are you feeding? And I don't just mean treats. If you are giving a handful of apple sticks or unlimited apple sticks, it's representing a huge amount of their diet. And you need to take that into consideration because these guys are so efficient at utilizing feed. They can get nutrients out of sticks. They can get nutrients out of a horse cookie that's mostly biotin and honestly, this stuff looks like sawdust, but they seem to be okay with it. You know, it's just something to take into consideration when you're choosing a diet for your chinchillas. And I'd highly recommend you do not limit your feed. Don't. I mean, what happens if you go into the hospital and you have given your chinchilla exactly 2 tablespoons of pellets? Now what? Now what does he have to eat? He eats this. He's hungry. What does he got? He's got wood shells. Maybe he has some fleece items. Do not limit your chinchilla's feed. Just fill the little bowl up, put the bowl in there and let them munch, dump the poops. I would say if you're gonna free feed, here's a normal dish. I'd say fill this half full. So this is a good amount of food to make sure that your chinchilla has at all times. This would last a normal chinchilla 2-3 days. That's enough for them to get in there, poop in it, and then you throw out the rest with the poops because they're picky and they throw it out anyway.